Notts County Talk, it's that time of the season again. One of my favourite videos to film. I'm not sure about you, George. It always proves how badly wrong we are. It is our pre-season predictions video. We were pretty close last year, weren't we? With not with some of the teams, but in our predictions.
Yeah, we were absolutely. I think we got 4 or 5 teams in a similar position, and like placement was around about the same, wasn't it? Really, if we was quite like 1 or 2 off on a few selections. So
yeah. We smashed it with Crawley, though, didn't we? Smashed it.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
I think we had Crawley just off where they finished. I think we both had them 24th. So
yeah.
Interesting. I'm filming this literally just after I filmed our first monthly meetup. We had some fantastic League 2 content creators. We had Ben, also known as Cod Vlogs, who is the Fleetwood YouTuber. We had Sam representing Bradford, Seb representing Warsaw, and Liam representing MK Dons. So if you haven't watched that, or you'd like to watch that, we gave predictions. We rated the best signings and things like that for the season. So yeah, go and watch that, and I'll leave a link in the description. But if you do enjoy this video or you want to follow League 2 content, there's going to be so much of it this season, then drop a subscription. Should we get into it, George?
Let's go.
I'll let you kick off your reason for 24th place, but rock bottom, we have Morecambe. Off you go.
Yeah, so struggling off the field massively, aren't they? They had a transfer embargo. It got lifted, and I think they signed something like 15 players in one day. So it just seems pretty erratic. So for me, they are going to massively struggle this season coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at the players I've lost. Jacob Bedu to Notts. I had him on the video just filmed as our best signing. Farren Rawson. I know a lot of Notts fans wanted him. I think, like you say, it's so all over the place. And let me just put a little caveat in here. We are by no means experts on every single team in the league, and 90% of these will be wrong. But if you're going to sort of go with the smart money for this one, you've got Morecambe in the bottom two. I think they'll struggle, but they're a team that kind of always battle up against it a little bit. There was problems last year and they weren't too bad, and they got battered at Meadow Lane. But they were a better team against us. Their place earlier on in the season, I think in August. So I've got them 24th. I just don't see them. I don't see them getting out of this one, unfortunately for them. Let's see who we've got in 23rd. Then I'll kick off this one. I have Harrogate. Being dragged into it. They didn't have a fantastic end to last season, and if you've watched any of our videos, this is our 5th pre-season predictions now. I'm a big believer in the hangover. I think sometimes teams get drawn into it. They didn't finish too strongly. They've not had a great pre-season in terms of results, and I know a lot of people say results don't matter. I don't know what you think, George. I personally think there is something in pre-season results. I wouldn't want Notts to be losing every pre-season game. I don't know what you think. Like, I'm not saying it's
of course you'd be worried when you're going into the season, for sure.
Yeah, builds that winning mentality. I mean, if you're getting hammered week in, week out, then I think you're going to be concerned. I mean, if I get up Harrogate's results as I speak, 4-0 against Lincoln. Lincoln are a good team, but 4-0, 4-1 Sheffield United, 3-0 to Leeds and 3-2 to Huddersfield. Granted, they play teams in the leagues above, but, they scored 3 and conceded 14. I know pre-season's not all of it. Odo's gone to Peterborough. They haven't bought enough in to replace. I just feel like they could be one of those teams that's like not a second season syndrome because they haven't been there that long, but they could float with relegation. I think they're going to get taken down this season.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I've got Accrington Stanley. I can just see them struggling this season. They didn't finish too well last year, and I think they finished 17th. Their owner is one of those owners that's quite vocal online. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it. And he sort of seems to be talking about lack of investment quite a lot. And I think that's going to bite them this season. So that's why I've gone for them in 23rd.
We've seen what an owner's like when they go, well, it doesn't end well. Doesn't end well. Very different to our old owner, but there we go. 22nd place, so just avoiding relegation. You've got Grimsby.
I have. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Yeah, go first.
Very, very poor finish last season, like you said, Tom. Hangover for sure. They've been on a bit of a decline. You know when they got promotion from the National League, I was thinking these could really kick on now because they came down and went straight back up, didn't they?
Yeah.
So you got to give them credit for that. But they've sort of stagnated a little bit, haven't they now? And they've not really brought in any players for me that are really going to make a difference. So I think Grimsby again are going to be another team that will struggle this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I kind of agree. I've gone Bromley, and I know a lot of people think Bromley are going to get relegated. I don't think they'll get relegated. I think a lot of people have said Sutton would have got relegated their first season. They didn't. A lot of teams thought Harrogate might. They didn't. Barrow, they didn't. And a lot of those comfortably survived. I think Bromley survived. I really, really like, and I've mentioned it to you before, I really like Andy Woodman. I think he's a brilliant manager. I really do. I like how honest he is. He's won the playoffs with Bromley. He beat Wrexham in an FA Trophy final. So when games matter, he can do it, which is a fantastic thing to have. And it's something I've got to talk about with Notts. I don't know about Stuart Maynard when he gets those crunch games. I don't know. I think Andy Woodman is a good manager. If you want a backs to the wall manager, he's one that's good for you. They've signed the Gateshead striker from last season, Denanga, who scored 20 goals. So they've got some firepower in there. We've seen that players can step up. I'm not saying to the level of Maka, but a good goal scorer in the National League has stepped up into League Two in Maka. We've seen it before with some that haven't quite worked, but I think that's a good signing. They got Sunumni from Sutton, who, I mean, the opening day last year when we lost 5-1, I thought good defender, really good defender, and he's come into this Bromley side, and I think he'll be fantastic. They've had a solid pre-season. I think they'll survive, and do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to see them survive a lot more comfortably and step up 2 or 3 more places. Personally, yeah, I've got some hopes for Bromley.
I have a lot
of teams have been looking at the fixtures for Bromley at home maybe, and thinking, where's our points going to come? Don't agree. I think they'll be tough, really tough to beat. Consider them being in the league for a while. Cue them to be relegated in Feb. After I said that, right? 21st is a team I'm worried for, and if you watched along with the Sunday show of monthly meetup, I told everyone there I was worried for them. I'm worried for Newport County. They've signed a lot of young players from under 21 sides. Could work, might not work. We saw Colchester, who you've got in 21st, do that a lot last season. And, they weren't fantastic when it came to it. Last I know they beat Notts. But they lost the last 8 league games in a row, and they lost 10 of the last 12. Now, I'm not going to go throughout the video and say that all the teams that ended the season badly are going to play badly. I'm not that naive to think. I mean, there's like 15 weeks between the end of last season and the start of this, but that's awful. When we went down to Newport in, was it Feb? I thought they looked poor then, really poor against the Notts side that couldn't buy a win under Maynard. I don't think they've improved their squad at all. I think it's weaker. Baker Richardson from Crewe is a hope for them, and I thought he was a menace when we played Crewe away last year. But if he doesn't click, I really worry for them. I do worry for them. I can't see them finishing. I can see them finishing lower than 21st. And again, on the show, I spoke to some of the lads on there. Liam, an MK fan, I think he's got Newport bottom. I really do worry for them. You've got Colchester. I think it's a surprise.
You think it's a surprise?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. Fair enough. They struggled though, didn't they, last season massively? And I know the Cowley brothers came in, didn't they, in January? They only just managed to stay up. I know it was still a huge task. We saw what happened with Notts under Ardley. But yeah, I just see them struggling again this season. I think there's a lot of work to do to transition a club that was, just outside relegation to anywhere sort of above that sort of mid-table. And it's a very, very competitive league again this season. We were talking about it being competitive last season, but then you look at the teams that have come down and the teams that have come up, more so probably Chesterfield than Bromley. It's a tough league again, for sure. The sign Taylor, good signing for them. But yeah, for me, I think Colchester, again, will probably have a difficult season.
Fair enough. I mean, I've seen a couple where someone's got Colchester in 9th of their pre-season prediction, but we'll see where I've put them. I might put them first. You never know. Never know. 20th then. I'll let you kick off for 20th. I put a shock in there. But there you go.
Well, pretty much what you said, to be honest with you. I think they're on a bit of a downward spiral, aren't they? Harrogate, and have been sort of last season. One thing that I did find out, actually, going over my notes for this one, they've got the longest serving manager in the Football League, haven't they?
Have they? Yeah.
It's been like 15 years or something like that.
He's done very, very well with them.
Oh, yeah, he's done amazing for them. But, I mean, it'd be good if you could turn it around a little bit. But I think, when a long-serving manager has a tough time, it can go wrong for a club, can't it? Do you know what I mean? Do you stick to your guns, or someone that's stuck by the club for so long, or do you try something new that could completely change the club? So I think they're in a bit of a difficult situation for me, Harrogate.
Yeah.
And they've lost some key players as well, some real key players, and they've not really made any landmark signings.
Yeah, I think they could be quite close from sort of my 22nd down to probably my 16th, my 5th, 17th maybe. I've gone Cheltenham, who came down last season, obviously a really disappointing season last season. I think they could be one of the teams nowhere near Forest Green level, where they've gone down 2 successive seasons. I cannot see them going down, and a lot of people have them a lot higher. I think you might have them quite a bit higher than me, but I think they're 20th. I mean, they've lost Street to Lincoln, they've lost Freestone to Stevenage, who you can't say there were standout players last season in a Cheltenham team that got relegated. You never get really, really standout players, but they've gone. Ryan Bowman's come in. And if my memory serves me correctly, he scored a hat-trick for Shrewsbury against Notts in that FA Cup game last season. Now, I could have scored that hat-trick, pretty much. Aidan Baldwin may as well have given it to him on a silver platter. I would have scored that hat-trick. I don't think I might be wrong. Watch him score 5 past Notts next year. I don't see him as a superb signing. I really, really don't. Not a player I would say use the word underwhelming. Young is a decent signing, but Michael Flynn as manager, right? I see his name and I think he's won loads. He's won loads because he's always about, and I think he's a superb manager, but he's not really done. He's done okay, he's done okay at Newport, but I don't rate him as a manager. He's one of those where if Notts was to bring him in, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not too happy with this. I think I don't see them being really tough to beat. I don't see them troubling many people. I see them in 20th position, and I might be wrong, and Cheltenham fans might be fuming with that, because usually when you come down, you're looking to bounce straight back up. Not for me. 19th position then. 19th.
That is low.
Grimsby in 19th. Not quite as bad a season from me that you're predicting, but I have got them in 19th. I'm not really sure what to say about them. Last year was a disaster. And I saw some tweets. I saw one Grimsby fan tweeting yesterday, or maybe today, that there's just no forward momentum at the club. Like they're just stagnating. They're just doing the complete opposite of what you expected them to be doing a couple of years ago. They're not building on league positions. Clearly here I've got them building on a league position from last season, but not by much at all. I was disappointed with them last season, to be fair. The 5-5 draw against us was just crazy back in January when Jim O'Brien in charge. Yeah. 5-5 with Notts when we're in our worst. I mean, they've lost to York and South Shields in pre-season. It's not the end of the world, but it's not massively. It's not going to fill with a lot of confidence here. South Shields are a decent side. They've lost Harry Clifton, Holohan, Issa, who are not sure where he's gone, somewhere in Asia, and Malarkey. I mean, Harry Clifton is a big loss, I think. Again, a bit like Cheltenham, you're not going to have any incredibly standout players, but they've lost goals in Issa going 19th for me. Well, will they be well clear of relegation? I don't think they'll ever be massively in trouble.
Yeah.
Bromley for you?
Yeah, Bromley for me, yeah. Much of what you said, to be honest with you, I like Bromley. I think Bromley are a good side. We've always struggled against Bromley.
We have.
So I just think that they're going to come up, and I think they're going to do well. They're going to be running on that sort of adrenaline of getting promotion. So yeah, I can see them having a good season. Like you say, I like their manager as well. Good manager.
Yeah, I think that we always do badly against them. Always. Even in our promotion season, we struggled. Right, 18th position. Newport and Tranmere. I'll let you go first.
That's surprising, that is, Tom. Surprising from you. But yeah, Newport, so we're not too far apart, really, are we, where we've put them. Made one or two decent additions, but like you said, not the strongest of teams last season, and they had a terrible finish. They lost their last 8 games, I think, in the league. So yeah, for me, I agree with what you sort of say with the hangover. I think they're going to struggle. I think they're really going to struggle again. I think it's going to be a bit of a dull season. And look, when we came up against them, like you said, especially away, we made them look like nothing, didn't we?
Yeah. I've gone for Tranmere. Like you said, you're a bit shocked by that. I'm going to get it in there. They had my favourite player in League 2 last season in Apter. I've not seen a player rip Notts apart like that. I've not seen a player do that. And they've obviously not got up to next season. Not a surprise at all. They've got Dennis. He's not really scoring, is he? He had a fantastic season a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago. Not scoring. They're a solid side. But they've signed players of teams in the division that aren't quite good enough for teams in that division. And that's, for me, why I see Tranmere 18th. They've got some solid players. I see Tranmere nowhere near being relegated, by the way. And I think this group of teams that I'm about to say, I think Tranmere could be 18th to 10th. We saw last season, Notts were nearly like 19th, 18th at one point, and then they won a couple of games and they were up to 12th. I think Tranmere could be as high as 11th. Genuinely think they could. But I've got them there. Going on to 17th. Swindon and Barrow. We got Barrow badly wrong last year. Badly wrong. I think I had Barrow to finish just above relegation places. Yeah, not great. I'm going to say they've not really had any pre-season tests, Swindon. And I like Blake Tracy and I like Ollie Clark. And I would say Harry Smith could be a good signing. Do I like Harry Smith? No. The way he waved at Notts fans on the opening day, ridiculous. Don't like him. Is he a good striker? Yes, he's actually okay. As someone commented on the monthly meetup on Sunday night, Swindon always see them or concern them as a team that could go a little bit astray, I think. And you never know where they're going to finish. I don't think they've strengthened anywhere near enough or have a good enough nucleus of players from last season. I know they beat us near the end of the season, but who didn't? To sort of challenge really at all. I know I said Tranmere could finish 18th to 11th. I don't see Swindon finishing that high, really. Barrow for you.
Yeah, Barrow for me. I think obviously they've lost Pete Ward, haven't they? They let
channel mascot in the background.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to let her out. Give me one sec.
So for anyone that's new to the channel, George's channel mascot is a little bit like that Paul the Psychic Octopus that used to predict World Cup fixtures. I was just saying, your channel mascot's a little bit like Paul the Psychic Octopus from the World Cup in like 2010. I think she's got a 0% win rate when predicting Notts games.
No, I think when we had her on the channel, when she came onto the videos, I think then we win like 10 games in a row.
Maybe something like that. But
something
it
like
could also be 0% win rate. Sorry, you've got
sorry,
17th.
Yeah. So obviously Pete Wild, who for me, as much as I hated him when he came to Meadow Lane because he was sort of goading fans and that, after the game there, he did well there, I think. So it's a bit of a fear of the unknown, I think, going into this season for them. They've lost a couple of players as well, a couple of really key players. So again, I think 17th for Barrow.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I feel like I can never put Barrow that high in the league. I don't know why. I just have something in me that thinks surely they're not going to. I mean, I'll get on to what I think about Barrow in a second. That gives it a little bit away, but 16th then, I've got Colchester. Whoa, Salford City. Salford City in 16th. The big Salford. Class of 92 Salford.
Yeah, I'm putting my neck on the line here.
Salford that should have been in the Prem a couple of years ago.
No, not really. I see them. I genuinely see them like if they don't finish 6th. I could be wrong on this one. I think, but it won't be much higher. I don't think.
No, yeah,
for sure. I think underwhelming last season massively. I think when we went to play them, I was thinking, we're gonna be in for a game here, and we just weren't. We weren't in for a game at all. I think, especially away, they struggled to play against us. They've had some comings and goings, haven't they? But it's hard. It's hard really to sort of say where they're going to be because they've spent before. They've spent a lot as well, and it just hasn't worked for them. So whether they can make it click this season and prove me massively wrong, maybe so, but I can't see it.
Yeah, I've got Colchester 16. A lot of people have Colchester a bit higher. I don't have them too much higher than you've got them. I thought last season they were quite exciting. I alluded to last season on this exact show at the start of last season that they've got too many young players, but actually it made them an exciting side. They've signed Jack Payne, who was very, very good at MK last season. 6 goals, 6 assists, 42 games played. And I mentioned on our channel, you need a player that's going to be consistently a 7 out of 10 for like 40 to 46 games a season, especially like a midfield player. He finished the season with a 7.1. You can't ask for any more than that. Experience in there, 29 years old. They've signed Lyle Taylor. Again, if he finds his goal scoring form, I feel like he's been a little bit out in sort of the wilderness like in the last few years or so. So I think he could be really good, but they need him to be good. They need some goals there. I think they're going to be a much better side than they were last year. And even last year, I thought they were quite exciting. So I've got them in 16. Okay, Barrow. And you've got Swindon. We're starting to overlap with a few of these now. A lot of the teams we've already said. Bar maybe Tranmere and Cheltenham. Don't think you've mentioned those yet. I've got Barrow in 15. And I'll tell you why I've got Barrow in 15. They fell off horrendously last season. If you'd have said to me at sort of January time, will Barrow finish in the playoffs? Yeah, absolutely no doubt in my mind. It was like Mansfield, Wrexham, Stockport, Barrow were in there. I thought Crewe would fall off. Barrow, like, wow. They completely capitulated, and I think they finished one place outside the playoffs, and maybe it went down to the last day. Winless in the last 7. Doesn't mean they can't come into this season and start winning games. They've signed a few decent players. I quite like Theo Vassell. I know some people might not like him. I think he's okay. Dallas hasn't stepped up at all, which is surprising because a lot of Notts fans really, really wanted him last season. Or the season before. He didn't score a goal for Oldham last year, and they've signed him. They've got him at Barrow. So I don't know. I'm not massively convinced by him. And the manager, complete unknown for me. Stephen Clements, completely unknown. So I can't put them any higher than this. Like you said before, you mentioned Pete Wild, didn't you, when you spoke about Barrow?
Yeah.
Horrible manager to play against, but one that, for a team like Barrow, you'd want. They've lost that. It was sort of a talisman kind of manager. Stephen Clements, I have no clue. Absolutely no clue what he will do with that side. So 15th for me, and could be lower.
Yeah, Swindon. For me, genuinely, I think Swindon could do a bit of a Crawley.
Really?
Yeah, I put them 15th though. Obviously, their front line's very good. I think their attack is very, very good. I think what's going to let them down and sort of have them finish them below mid-table is their defense. That they need to strengthen that defense, because as it stands, as we record this now, it's just not strong enough. But yeah, I mean, if something switches and they get it right with that front line, they could get into the playoffs for sure. But for me, on paper, it has to be a 15th finish.
I think this one's going to surprise you from me, but I'll let you do your 14th place first.
Fourth.
Off you go. Walsall.
Yeah. Do you know what? This part of the league is difficult, isn't it?
Oh, massively.
It's so difficult because you look at the bottom and you're sort of thinking there's probably like 4 or 5 teams where you're thinking they're going to be struggling this season. You go to the top, and then probably from like 10th up, you're probably thinking, yeah. But then there's also teams for me like Walsall that you're thinking, where am I going to put these? I think Walsall again could finish higher, but they've not overly impressed me when I've seen them this season, and that's what I'm sort of going off. I think they're going to have a similar season to what they did last season, but again, they do have some strong players in there, so yeah. I think just below mid-table, but again, they could surprise us. Yeah,
I'm going Accrington. Accrington will surprise you, and will surprise a lot of people in 14th. They remind me, from a Notts point of view, of when we signed Macca and Kedwin Scott together, like players that were firing the team up. They've got Jimmy Knowles, who we obviously know about, scored a hat-trick for us in the National League, went to Boston, and then Kelsey Mooney as well. They both scored bags of goals last year. And I think it could be like a bit of a partnership coming up. If they don't score and they don't make the step up, then I would really worry for Accrington. But I'm basing it on that. I'm basing it on them two coming in doing really well. Farron Rawson, for me, excellent signing. Excellent signing. And I know, again, I've mentioned it, Notts fans wanted him. Donald Love is solid, a solid player they've signed. Like, not stand out, but he's good. Again, getting pairs of players from teams might work. Similar positions, defenders, attackers from teams could work. Tommy Lee will be a massive miss. He finished the season very, very strongly for Accrington. 24 years old, obviously gone to MK, who, we know they've done some serious business. But I don't know. I've got a really, really sneaky suspicion that Accrington could do even better than this. I think that's where it's a big difference between us. But I think they could do some serious like surprise this season. There we go. How wrong do you think I am?
I think you're quite wrong, to be honest with you. I really do have them down there, but willing to be proven wrong.
The sponsor, I think they got Wham as their shirt sponsor.
Have they?
Yeah, the isn't it the sweets company or something? So they can't be relegated.
Oh,
they can't. 13th then, so the top team in the bottom half of the table. Salford. Pretty similar for you as you. I think they're in a bit of a mess. They have the word I said, and I said it on again on the monthly meetup. Stagnated, completely stagnated. Where's this? Oh, they're going to be championship by sort of 2024, 25. Like, where's that gone? They're stuck in a difficult league to get out of. They remind me a little bit of Bradford, obviously. They remind me of Bradford in a completely different way. Like, Bradford are a big club. Salford aren't a big club. Salford had to move games last season to a Friday night to try and attract more fans from the Manchester area. Don't shoot us down. We said Manchester last season. Someone said Salford's not in Manchester. It's near Manchester. Okay, it is technically. If you look at the size of the world, it's basically in Manchester. Yeah, Callum Hendry gone. Elliot Watt gone. And let's be clear, they were decent last season. Matt Smith, gone. Huge. I don't know if he's actually signed for anyone at this point. They won't struggle as badly as some are saying. Some people have got them very, very low. That won't be the case. But I think they're looking for more investment. I like Ben Woodburn, but that's about it. And Carl Robinson's decent. Will he stay around? I don't know. I don't really know if I'm a Salford fan. And if you're a Salford fan watching, let us know. What's the actual expectation? Like, what are they expecting? Because even and this might be wrong, even the most confident Salford fan can't say that they're going top 3.
I wonder what Salford think of Wrexham.
They're still in the limelight.
Yeah, because can you remember the documentary about Salford? You saw, and then like Wrexham come up and they've just surpassed them now. So
I enjoyed that. That documentary was quite good. Class of '92, wasn't it? Something like that. Go on then, Crew.
Yeah, Crew. Obviously, they had a good season last season. Finishing, where did they finish last season? Just inside the playoffs, wasn't it? But another team that have lost some crucial players that sort of got them to where they are. You know, players that played a lot of games, got a lot of goals, got a lot of assists, and they've not replaced them as it stands. So I see them falling a lot lower than where they were last season.
I think you're way, way off with that. I think that's a terrible shout.
Fair enough.
That is, to have them as low as 13th, Crew Alexandra is horrendous, quite honestly. Right, let's go to 12th then. I've got Crew in 12th.
I knew that was coming. Every
year. Go on then. Gillingham.
They finished 12th last season. I'll start with that. But no, Gillingham are a funny side because, you know, both times we played them, because I saw both fixtures last season, I thought they looked all right, and they've got some decent players. But they just lack something. They really lack something as going for. It's like a style or something, and it's like they're having a bit of an identity crisis, I think, Gillingham. They don't know which way to play, so I think that's always going to ponder them a little bit.
I genuinely thought you were going to say Gillingham finished 12th last season, so 12th again, and just left it at that.
That'd have been like insightful as hell, wouldn't it?
Analytical.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for me. I just think.
Is it a gut feeling? Because I've got a couple of gut feeling ones on here as well.
They have so much potential, Gillingham do. They really do. But I just feel like they don't quite reach it.
Great away end.
Yeah.
Great away end. That Macquarie winner from where we stood last year.
What a moment.
Yeah, we're going to disagree on Gillingham, I think. Almost as much as disagreed on Crew. I've got Crew 12th. Not as well as last season. You'll know, everyone that watches the channel will know, November, December, January, I was just sat there saying Crew are going to fall off, and they never fell off. Credit to them. The scenes at Crew away last year, where I was messaging you as it happened, I thought the game was going to be abandoned. It was, and I thought to myself, lucky, but they are not going to keep this up. They did. Fair play to them. They kept it up. They trimmed the squad quite a bit. Obviously, Rio Adebisi has gone to Peterborough. Peterborough's done well this year, by the way. Not a League Two club, but they've done well this year. I like the signings they've made. A huge miss. Huge loss. Bogle and Hemmings up front, they need to score. Pure and simple. If they didn't still have what I think is like the core of a decent League Two side, I'd be a bit worried about them. I don't think as strikers. I mean, we saw Hemmings back in our relegation season, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he was good, but him and Bogle, they need to score, or one of them needs to catch fire this season for them, really, because they've lost Baker Richardson, as I said, to Newport. Are they upgrades on him? Not for me. And that might surprise a few Crew fans, but they're just not. They're just like, you know, I know some of them have played high. You feel like some of those players just float around the leagues. So, for me, yeah, I've got Crew much higher than you by one place. Cool. Right, let's go to 11th then. We'll get into those teams now, as you've already mentioned, George, that can kind of mix it with the playoff teams. Mm-hmm. Maybe a late push in the season or something like that. I've gone Walsall and you've gone Fleetwood. Ooh. So, Walsall lost Hutchinson. He was outstanding last season for them. It's a big loss. But when you're a League Two side, we've seen it with Maka. You lose big players, don't you? And you have to deal with it because we're in League Two. That happens. No one else they've lost, and Walsall fans might disagree with me, I see as a massive miss. I think they're replaceable. Albert Adoma is such an interesting signing and came out of nowhere. He's like the ultimate championship player I remember growing up. QPR, Bristol City. 36 now, I think, but he can still cut it at League Two level. Reminds me a bit of Didsey that we've signed last year. I don't think we overplayed Didsey. If Walsall get it right with Adoma, he'll be a really, really good player. Leader, experienced. I really like him. Lakin ended the season well at Sutton. So I think he could be a shrewd signing. I think they need time to build. And I genuinely think if they get it right this season, and even maybe a little bit higher than 11th, I think, I'm just looking now, Lakin finished the season well for Sutton. I think they could push on next season, definitely. I just think they need a bit of patience. It's like a few year transition. I don't think Walsall fans would be happy with it. They might be happy with 11th. Mm-hmm. But I'll go then.
Fleetwood then for me. I think out of the clubs that have got relegated, clearly, in my opinion, they're going to be the team that need the most work doing. I think, like you say, most fans will probably be wanting them to get playoffs and go, bounce back up. But I think the task that they have on the hands of, the rebuild there is a lot bigger than, Cheltenham. Is a lot bigger than Port Vale. So that's why I have them in 11th.
Fair enough. Again, these teams could be anywhere, couldn't they, really, in a range?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
10th then, getting into that top 10. Now, these are the teams that can definitely mix it for playoffs. Who have you got? Ooh, Tranmere, 8 places above me. I've gone for Wimbledon, who I don't believe we've seen on your list yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah, you're right. Tranmere for me. I liked Tranmere last season. I thought they caused us all sorts of problems. They did impress me. And they've had some good business in this window. So I think sort of with that steady progression of building on what they had last season, I can see them improving. And yeah, for me, 10th is an improvement for them. And dare I say it, I think that they could push for playoffs.
Really?
I do, yeah. I like Tranmere last season.
Fair enough. I'm going Wimbledon. My second favourite player last season, obviously, I said Apter, who was at Tranmere last season, was my favourite player to watch. Al Hamidia, when I went to Wimbledon away, goodness me, what a player! Obviously, gone on to Ipswich and is now, if I believe right, he's not left. He's a Premier League player. Wimbledon to the Premier League in like 8 or 9 months. It's unbelievable. Fantastic player. Went for more than Maka did, but obviously younger, higher ceiling. So obviously he's a miss, but it's not an immediate miss, is it? Because he left at the end of January or in January. I like Wimbledon. They've got lots of experience in the team now. Miles Hippolyte, John Joe O'Toole, who I don't see O'Toole playing massive amounts of games, but if you're looking for like League Two or EFL experience, he's been around the block, hasn't he? He's been around. Good player. Joe Pigott they've signed from Leyton Orient, I believe. He's come back to Wimbledon. I'm looking at his seasons 2021. He scored 20 goals for them. 18-19 scored 15 goals for them. If he comes back and sort of, when players go back to their old teams, it can either work or it can't work. If he comes back and does the business for them, they could finish higher. Obviously lost Ronan Curtis to a side that I don't believe I mentioned yet. No, I haven't mentioned yet. I think they could do well. They could do well, I think.
Cool.
Right. We're getting in there now. We're getting in there.
Business end.
9th position. Off we go.
I'll kick off with this one.
Go on then.
Like I've already said, I think a team coming down from League One. League One is all the leagues are extremely competitive, but League One last season was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So good. So, getting relegated from that league, it's tough to get relegated from any league, isn't it? But I think coming down into League Two, you, as a fan, as a club, you need to be aiming to get promoted again. But I just think Cheltenham will fall victim to the competitiveness of this season. There's some teams above here, and I'm just looking now. They've signed some great players, and built on the teams that they already have. And I just think they're going to fall victim to that and just come outside of the playoffs, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. I see them finishing a lot lower than that. I mean, it's very rare that in these videos we have an 11-place difference on teams, but I really see them struggling. I have Fleetwood in 9th. Can't remember where you had Fleetwood, but it wasn't too far from here, I don't think. 11th, not too far from here. Average age of their rivals is young. I think that's a good way to go for a relegated side. Obviously, you want some experience in there. Big fan of Medley, who spent 3 years in Belgium. Only concern with that is he has played 58 league games in 3 years. Now, some players this season for some teams will play 46 in one. That's my only concern. One of the seasons he's played 15 league games. That's really not a lot. Can he cut it? And we know it's such a boring cliche, but Saturday, Tuesday, when games rack up sometimes 3 a week, and with this changing schedule, he might be playing a very, very close games together, maybe even Sunday, Tuesday at some point. Who knows with this new TV deal? Can he do that? 18, 15, and 25. That's his last 3 seasons for league games. That's my only question with him. Matty Virtue, jury's out on him. I thought he was a very poor player for Notts. He's obviously developed, and we had him years ago. Mm-hmm. But I still don't. The jury is out for me. Obviously played League One football, but there we go. And then obviously they've lost to Bristol Rovers, their record signing. I'm going to butcher this name, but Promise Omachire, record signing, scored his first goal in pre-season for Bristol the other day. You're losing players like that. Obviously, you get money, but it's big, isn't it? It's like, can you fill that void? Yeah. I have 9th. 8th, missing out on the playoffs. Bradford. Oh, Chesterfield. So you put the favourite team to win the league in 8th by the bookies.
Yeah, I think Chesterfield, genuinely, I know they've got a good squad, and they have got a good squad. They've got some experience in there as well, from the manager to the squad. But it's still that step up, isn't it? That group are so used to winning sort of week in, week out. I think when they come up to the challenge of, League Two and they lose a few more games, I think that's going to test them a little bit, to be honest with you. And to be honest, I also wouldn't be surprised to see them, even if they crept into the autos, if they finished in the playoffs. From here on up, it's hard to call. But for me, I just see them finishing just outside the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Bradford have to get out of this league. They're like a sleeping giant in the division. I mean, when I went there on a Tuesday night, it was 3/4 empty. The attendance obviously included season ticket holders that hadn't turned up. I mean, it was sparse. They're a big side. They are a big, big side. Sarkovic is a good signing. He was a cheat code in National League for Stockport, really, wasn't he, when he was there? He is a good signing. Obviously getting on a little bit, but not too old. Cook is a goal scorer and always will be a goal scorer, but you saw that he scored less last season than he did the season before. Will he score less again? I'm only going off what I saw at their place, but poor against Notts then. I'm not convinced with their manager, Graham Alexander. I don't know. I get gut feelings about managers like Andy Woodman, really like him. But Flynn, Alexander, I don't know. I could be very wrong. I could be very, very wrong. But I have them missing out on the playoffs agonisingly again. I think your 8th is very, very interesting. Clearly the bookies' favourites to win the league, to not even make the playoffs.
Yeah. But to be honest, what did the bookies base that off, honestly?
No, but I think that is one, I think. I mean, we've had a gap of 11 places for Cheltenham. You're way off with that one.
I know what's coming next.
I've got Chesterfield in 7th. When you've got Wimbledon in 7th. I'm going to tell you this now. There's no way Chesterfield win the league. Absolutely no way they win the league. They are not coming into the League Two with some of the teams I've got. 2 of the teams I've got in top 3, I see as outstanding teams in this league. My first and second. Chesterfield are not winning the league. If they win the league, I'll eat my words gladly. They're not winning the league. Like you said, they could change that automatic. They walked the National League, right? They could have put me in at centre-back and still won the National League. There's no way they couldn't win the National League. With us and Wrexham out the year before, it would have been an absolute disaster for them not to win it.
Yeah.
So I'm not really basing much off that. And when they've won the league, they went to pot. They've re-signed Tim Akinolu, who's a fantastic player. I'll give them that. And they've got Paddy Madden, who I gave as my number one player of the season in our post-review show. Was my player of the season or one of my top 5 players of the season. But he's getting on, and so is Will Grigg. Will Grigg's getting on. They've got an average age of 28, just over 28. It's fairly old. It doesn't sound old, but it's fairly old. Darren Oldacre is class. He is a class player. So, I mean, they'll give them that. They're going to be a good team. And I'm not coming on here saying they're going to finish 7th and be poor and Notts are going to batter them and teams are going to batter them. But it's not easy when you come in. It's really not. They have a good manager, though. I'll give them that. They have a good manager.
Yeah.
I'm going to be surprised to see them challenge for that 3rd spot. Not at all. Do I think they'll do it? Maybe. Do I think they'll win the league? No, not at all. I don't know what, like you said, I don't know what the bookies are basing it off. I think, if they sign a couple of really young, exciting players, like is it Colclough for them?
Mm-hmm.
Great player. But 29, I didn't realise. I thought he was a bit younger than that.
Yeah, I thought he was younger than that, to be honest.
Strong side, good manager, won't trouble first place, in my opinion. Wimbledon.
Yeah, I think literally the last few words you just said there. Strong side, decent manager. They're not quite top of the league yet, are they? Wimbledon. Very experienced side though, like you said. They've got some players that have been there, sort of done it. So that, as we've seen as not fans, pays dividends. Having those players that have got that experience that I think we lacked last season, it definitely helps. 3 really good signings for them as well. So they're building on last season for sure. So I see them getting in playoffs. I think I don't know if they'll win the playoffs, but I think if they make the playoffs, I think they'll at least get to the final.
I like Wimbledon. One of those teams I don't really have anything against.
I do as well.
6th then. Gillingham, Port Vale. I'll go first. I'll kick this one off with Gillingham. Because where did you have Gillingham? Where did you have them? Gillingham. 12. So the gap of 6 sort of there. Really strange last season. Really, really odd. Do you remember? I think they won like the first 4 games 1-0 or something. And then they could barely conceded but barely scored. Very bizarre. And like Gillingham fans we had on the channel were like, yeah, there's no way we can keep this up. Just a really strange start to the season. And then just fizzled out. Very much like Notts. The opposite of Notts. We were just scoring and conceding for fun. Scott Malone's left. Don't see that as a huge loss. I know Gillingham fans might think different. They've signed Armani Little. Now, he still needs to prove it for me. I think he went straight to Forest Green, didn't he, from Torquay? The step up was big. They've signed Aaron Rowe. Interests me. The big one for them, and I've already mentioned at the start of last season they failed. They got Elliot Nevitt. Now, 27, going to be 28 roughly at the start of the season. 16 goals last year for Crewe. And that's why I've got Crewe struggling as well. I think he could be really good for them. I like the team they've got already. They've got a strong nucleus of a squad. I think they'll finish 6th. And I think, like you said about Wimbledon, could be dangerous in the playoffs. I think so could Gillingham. I think.
Fair enough. Port Vale then for me. Look, another team that they got relegated obviously last season, but I think on paper I think Port Vale probably have one of the strongest teams in the division. It's just getting them to play, isn't it? I think if you can get that team playing with some cohesion, there's no reason that they can't get automatic. But I just don't see them doing that first time of asking. But they're still going to have a good season because I think finishing in the playoffs in League Two, when you look down at some of the teams that are in here and, how well they played last season and, the signings that they've made, I think 6th is commendable. So I think, Port Vale for me, 6.
Fair enough. Right, going into 5th then. I'll let you go first with 5th.
Yeah.
Let's see what we think.
Now, I will say from here on out, it's even it's so difficult to go first to fifth, isn't it? It's so
Yeah,
difficult.
I think my first to fifth is hard to do.
Mid-table is difficult, but this is hard because it's like there might not be a lot in it, and there normally isn't, to be honest with you. But Carlisle, pretty much as similar to Port Vale, a very, very on paper very good side. Picked up some decent players. They've not lost too many players from last season either, playing in the league above. So I think that as much as a relegation isn't helpful, it's something to sort of build on for them. So I see them finishing fifth. Do I see them creeping into the autos? Yeah, I do actually. I think they could. But there is teams up there that, in my opinion, that will just creep in. But Carlisle for me just fall short of the automatics. But I think they'll do all right in the playoffs.
I have Notts in fifth. Outstanding window. If Maka had stayed 10 out of 10, right now, as time of recording, we've got Jody Jones. Thank goodness. What an unbelievable player. Still got Dan Crowley, 15 goals last season. Matty Palmer's coming back. Jatta, who started to catch fire at the end of last season. How good's he going to be? Kedwin Scott's back. Our issue last season is we were playing musical chairs with the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
They were none of them were the standard we needed. Ashby Hammond at best was closest we got. I mean, the goalkeeper we signed, Aidan Stone, was sent off on his debut like 10 minutes in. That says all you need to know, and that was foreshadowing for the season. The defence and goalkeeper, Alex Bass, in the league last season. Defence, Jacob Bedu, Matty Platt, Cundy's signed, Rob McDonald. These are players that have been promoted out of the division. You look at the wing backs, we've got Kellen Gordon promoted last season, Tassarula promoted last season. I've never seen a revamp of defence like this. We've got one centre-back left. We've literally got Lewis McCarry left. I think he has to start the opening day because you could technically go with a brand new back five, and I think you should. I would have kept two centre-backs in there if we would have kept Carl Cameron, but he's obviously gone to St Johnstone. But now I'm happy not to do that. We've upgraded. I think you've got to keep McCarry in just for a little bit. I do. And I like him as well. Excellent player. I mentioned his goal against Gillingham. Fantastic player. So
didn't play many last season though. McCarry.
No. I wonder how many he played though. I wonder how many he actually played for Notts. Be a fair few. Here's my problem, and this doesn't mean I've got no confidence in him because I'm fully behind him. Stuart Maynard is an unknown towards the top of the division.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen if we're 5 games to go and we're pushing for 3rd place or pushing for 7th place? I don't know. I honestly don't know, because when it was tough last season, it didn't work. He's got a full pre-season under him. You can't say the owners haven't given him every single tool to succeed.
Oh yeah.
We have given him the best. The best defense I think we could have given him.
For sure. Like that.
Two promoted players, some players of the season from other clubs. We've swapped Aidan Baldwin for Matty Platt. Huge upgrade in my opinion. End of the season, we might be saying it's a downgrade. Football's crazy, but you never know. Returning players. Manager is my only unknown. So 5th.
Yeah.
There we go. 5th. Should we go on to 4th place?
Let's go 4th.
I'll quickly run through my 4th because you said a lot. Oh, switched it around. I'll very quickly go into my 4th because you said quite a lot about Carlisle. I think they could finish 3rd. I think 4th and 3rd for me are interchangeable completely. Terrible season last year. I think they'll put that behind them. I don't think there'll be any hangover for them. Charlie White returning to the club, much like Piggott returned to Wimbledon. I think he could get goals. He needs to find his goal scoring form at 31, but he definitely can do it. Aaron Hayden, I'd love Notts to have got him. If he can stay injury-free, superb signing. Terrell Thomas, again, a good signing that I like. Josh Vella, Luke Armstrong. If Luke Armstrong finds his Harrogate form, they're laughing. If Aaron Hayden stays fit, Charlie White and Luke Armstrong find their form, they could win the league. Simple.
Yeah. Notts then, I mean, pretty much what you've just said, to be honest with you. I think, do you know what? Can you remember the season we got relegated to the National League?
Yeah.
We signed, like, our attack was amazing. Like we had Dennis, who had goals in him. We had Hemmings. These signings at the time were massive for us, and we couldn't wait to sort of see them get started, could we? And thinking, oh, what a season we're about to have. But also leading up to that season, you're thinking we need to sort the defence out, and it didn't get seen to. And at the end of the day, it cost us, isn't it, in the long run? But as it stands now, the recruitment has been very, very good. I've been very impressed. The defence and goalkeeper, which we said sort of probably week in week out at one point need seeing to, has been completely stripped out and changed, which needed to happen. We were conceding far too many goals. I think last season goal scored and goal against was over 160, wasn't it? Probably nearly 170. So yeah, I think we shore up at the back. I think we have the players that can replace the goals. I think if you look at the chances that Langstaff got in games, I think you'd be hard pushed. Many strikers of a similar sort of ability or similar sort of style to not score as many goals. You know what I mean?
I think
not to make it so, not to create so many good chances, and there's so many players like Jody, like Crowley, like McGoldrick who are going to make things happen. It's hard not to sort of score in some of the positions that we create.
I think Jota and Kedwin's goals could add up to Macca's. Maybe
I think why could, if Kedwin stays fit all season, why couldn't Kedwin emulate what Macca did?
Yeah, and also I don't think we'll need to score as many because we won't concede as many.
True.
Personally, anyway. Right, our top three. I'll let you kick off with your third place side first. Wow, I am gobsmacked.
I did this last season. I think I put them third.
Just keep on law of averages. You keep trying to get promoted. They will at one point.
Yeah, but again, Bradford, massive club. They've got a decent bit of money behind them as well, and I just see them as one of those clubs that's going to have a bit of a revival. Obviously, they've got Baldwin offers, haven't they? I feel like he has something to prove. And there's something that I just feel like he's going to have a good season, and I feel like it's going to be the difference for Bradford, and I think they'll sneak into autos. Yeah, honestly, I just think with the momentum that they could build with, the following that they do have, I can just see it being a turning point for them this season. I don't see them stagnating like many people probably think that they will.
Fair enough. I've gone Doncaster. Ridiculous end to last season. I think they were like 200 to 1 to make the playoffs at one point. Stupid end. I think they're going to carry that on into this season, although they did kind of choke the playoffs. I like the manager. Jordan Gibson and Harry Clifton are good signings, but my two big signings, and one I'd love Notts to have got, but where would he fit in with sort of the players we've already got in Jody and Dan Crowley? I don't know. But Joe Sabora, great player from Solihull, superb signing. They got him in nice and early so he can learn the way that Donny wants to play. And then Billy Sharp, I think you guarantee. I know he's getting on, but so is Didsy. Didsy's getting on, and he scored fair few goals for his last season. Use him correctly, and I think you could have up to 10 goals in a striker that's probably not going to start every game. Yeah. He's going back to a club. Reminds me of Didsy very, very much. But Billy Sharp's done it at a very, very high level and is a good goal scorer. And I just think to myself, you're pushing a team back, and let's say Billy Sharp's not started 20 minutes to get him on the pitch. That ball drops in the box. Who's going to be there? Billy Sharp. I don't think that sign can be underestimated at all. They've already got a good squad. I think they get third place. I do.
Nice.
Right. I have my top two as not runaways, but very strong. Very, very strong. Now, this might come back to bite me. I could see these between them losing very few games. And I might be wrong. But my second place and yours is MK Dons.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Luke Williams had left earlier, I think we would have Mike Williamson as manager. I know we tried to get him before Luke Williams and it didn't work. I think we would have gone back for him. Great manager. Again, like Donny, they completely bottled the playoffs to Crawley, didn't they? Completely. They got battered. Mm-hmm. But Crawley went up, and fair play to them. It felt like it was written. They'll learn from the playoffs. Conor Lemon-Havens, good signing. Didn't quite work at Notts on loan, but good signing. Lawrence Maguire, I thought was terrible in the National League. Not terrible. It wasn't great. He's gone and got promoted and dropped back down. Like half of Crawley squad's dropped back down, haven't they? Liam Kelly, who I'm going to mention in a second, Maguire, Gordon, Tassarula. They've all come down. Tom Carroll could be a stupid signing for them. Like, incredible. They lost Max Dean, but Liam Kelly. What? If you watched any of the playoffs, you know that is unbelievable signing for me. They're going to be very, very hard to beat, and I think they go up. I really, really think they go up. What about you?
I completely agree. Yeah, I think I agree with you as well. I think they could really run away with it. You know, if they hit the ground running, sort of the way that they were playing, you know, the back end of last season, there's no reason that they shouldn't get top 3 minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'll let you go with the league winners. So you might have worked out who we've not already put down if you've been following it. There we go. George, Doncaster.
Yeah, it's sort of. We're not too far apart, really, are we, with that one, I suppose? But to sort of, I'm just pretty much copying what you're saying now because it's what I've got written down here. But the signings that they've made have been very, very good. Their attacking threat is, for me, is probably one of the best in the league. Now, like you said, Billy Sharp, I know a lot of people saying, you know, he's getting on now, but he's a player that if the ball falls to him 9 times out of 10 in the right position, he's scoring, isn't he? So I think create chances there. They've got Sabara, like you said. I think they do it. I think they go all the way. I think that, like you said as well, the way they finished last season was just ridiculous, absolutely crazy. The run they went on, and I think that is something to build on, and they have built on it with the signings that they've made. So I see them winning it. I see them win the league, which is crazy, really. When I think about when we went to Doncaster away, I was thinking, geez, this club are in a bad way.
Yeah.
They finish higher than us, and then the next season, I'm thinking that they're going to get first place.
Yeah. I think I had them top 3 last season. Yeah, we beat them 3-1 away early in the season, didn't we? And hammered them. 23rd last season, Port Vale. I'm really confident they win the league. Really confident. Of all of my predictions, I think they win the league. I really, really do. Darren Moore as manager knows how to get promoted. Think back to him at Sheffield Wednesday. Ryan Crowsdale is such a good signing for them, experience. But my signing of the whole season, George Byers in midfield. He shouldn't be in League Two. There's like a core group of like 3 or 4 players that some are debatable, but these 3 or 4 players should categorically not be in this division. I put Liam Kelly in there. I put George Byers in there. I put Jody Jones in there. Maybe a few others. He shouldn't be in the division. Ronan Curtis, fantastic signing for me. Ben Amos adds experience. But it's exciting attackers. Aldershot's Talaj, 19 goals last season in the National League. And then Murari Patton, who a lot of Notts fans wanted, 23 goals in Scotland last year. It's just exciting. I'll be very excited. I think as a transfer window, they've maybe had a 9.5 out of 10. I think the 3 teams that have had the best transfer window is easy for me. Donny just missed out on that, actually. I'd go Notts, MK, and Port Vale's transfer windows have been sensational, really. Sensational. Playoff winners, George? Have you thought that far, or are you going to just leave that one?
No, I have thought that far, and I can't not say Notts.
I'm going to go Notts. But again, I've got Chesterfield, Gillingham, and Carlisle in there. That would be a stupid playoffs. It would be so difficult.
Yeah, it would be.
I know we beat Chester in the playoffs, but Paul Cook team in the playoffs, they always go. Could be good.
They all struggle against Notts.
There's our predictions then. You can see I've got Port Vale winning the league. George has Doncaster. As we said at the start of the video, we are by no means experts on every club. But this is what we think is going to happen. Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are we pretty close? Are we absolutely miles off it? Come and abuse me if you're a Cheltenham fan, because I've got you so far down as 20th. Chesterfield fans abuse George, not even got you in the playoffs after bookies are backing you to win the league. Should be a great season, a very close season in my opinion, without the likes of Mansfield, Wrexham and Stockport in there. But the quality, I think, is still very, very, very high in this division. It's going to be a fantastic season. Well, under 2 weeks now until it begins. If you're not already subscribed to the channel or you're a fan of any of the team in this division, we're going to have plenty of League 2 content throughout the season. So please do subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and drop us a like.